You're listening to Xsgaming Podcast, a podcast for gamers by gamers, with your hosts Xander Skullion and James Gruesome, bringing you something old, something new, and a little bit of nostalgia too.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Xsgaming Podcast. This is episode 101. And we're recording this on the 4th of May. May the 4th be with you. I'm one of your hosts, Xander Skullion, and joined with me is my crimson-bearded co-host, Mr. James Gruesome. What's up, James?
The crimson-bearded Yakuza. Yes. Everyone, happy belated 420, happy belated 426, Alien Day, happy May the 4th be with you, and we'll throw in Cinco de Mayo, too. Since that's tomorrow, it has been a little while. I also just found out that French's, that makes mustard, also makes ketchup. And it really just kind of blew my mind. I was watching some YouTube videos earlier, and I was like, wow, I didn't even know. I was like, it probably is pretty good. And, ketchup rules, so I'm going to try that sometime.
I had no idea they did that. That's kind of, I don't know, that's like Sega making Sonic games on Nintendo. It's weird.
It's some nutty stuff, man. You never know what's going to happen nowadays. It's just everybody's in everybody else's product. It's all getting mixed together. It's nothing but happiness for the consumer all around, I'm sure.
Speaking of ketchup, I will say this before we go into a little segue.
What a segue!
I know. Sriracha and ketchup together is amazing. That is something I love, like making like chicken nuggets or something like that, or French fries or tater tots, and you add a little bit of sriracha and ketchup. It just has that. It's got that sriracha heat, but that ketchup flavor to it. I love it.
I could see that. I had sriracha not too long ago, for the first time, and it didn't. I don't know. Maybe if it was like hyped up too much, where I was kind of let down. But I'm big with my ketchup. I like to throw some Tabasco in it. So actually, the idea of sriracha mixed in. And also, I buy a couple of different, I think it's Heinz brand. They make like a jalapeno flavored one. They even have like a onion or a caramelized onion and bacon flavor. I haven't tried that. I kind of like a little bit of spice in the ketchup. So the sriracha actually sounds really awesome. Like I think that could maybe, open my mind back up to the sriracha, and I'd give it a second chance.
It is a little overhyped, I do admit. I mean, it's good. It's good. It's not like, breathtaking, the best hot sauce in the entire world good. I mean, I'm the kind of guy, I'm a diehard Texas Pete fan. Like I love
I tell you what's really good, too. I don't know if you've tried it much. I mean, in Wilmington, lots of seafood and stuff, so you've probably had cocktail sauce.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a big fan of just like I said, my favorite seafood is hush puppies. I love those, and I know it's not really fish made, but it's typically comes with the meals, and I always grew up eating the cocktail sauce and the hush puppies. And cocktail sauce I believe, has horseradish in it, which gives it a tiny bit of a kick also, and is kind of overlooked. And there's also a Heinz chili sauce, which is red. It looks kind of like ketchup-y, but it's also good, for like hamburgers and any other, kind of substitute sauce for that, for dipping stuff in. It's always good to try out these little different things,
Oh, yeah. Well, we are a gaming podcast, and all culinary talk aside, there are some things that we need to catch up on in the last month or so that we've recorded the last episode. Now, one of the things I want to talk about is, of course, E3. It's right around the corner. And, the consoles and companies are starting to talk about some things in the next couple of weeks. And one of the things is Microsoft's Xbox One Scorpio. Now, I heard Phil Spencer, the CEO of Microsoft, he talked about their vision of what they were wanting to see the Xbox One Scorpio have to offer, and it kind of made me a little weary about this, and I'll get your input on this, James, but he said that they saw the Xbox One Scorpio as the gateway for players to have the best third-party experience. The Xbox One Scorpio is going to be the most powerful home console in history, it sounds like. It's like, I think like 16 teraflops or some technical crap like that. But my thing is when I heard him say that, I heard no exclusives. And with no exclusives, there's no reason for me to go out there right now and drop money down on an Xbox One.
Yeah, Xbox One, and even with the Scorpio, which will be even more. I'm sure it will have to be competitively priced, but when they speak of third party, I can't help but think of third place, because honestly, that's where they are right now. The Switch is doing amazing. As much as many people want to say it's just a Mario player, at the moment, yeah, maybe it is, but it's selling. It's also a Mario Kart player now, which I think for April already sold over 1 million or some huge number. It just came out, and for April it already set some kind of record. So you have both, these systems, which I mean with PlayStation and Nintendo. Then you have, Xbox, which is really in last place. You don't think about it. Is there a need to have it? The Rare Replay, I think, is awesome, because I am a huge mark for compilation discs. But my brother EJ just recently, I was talking to him, and he's like, yeah, I'm thinking about trading in my stuff, my Xbox, and we're talking a little bit later. He's telling me what he got, and I was like, did you just trade in all your stuff? And he was like, yeah. So even he saw no need to have it, and he's, as long as I've known him, has always had, pretty much all of the consoles. But it's just that it is that exclusive factor. I mean, ever since Sunset Overdrive, Rare Replay, a friend of mine told me there's a really good racing game. Maybe the Forza series is on there. That's it. There's no reason. You can get everything on everything else. It was nice when there was a time when you could have a PS3 and a 360. And the 360, to me, will go down as one of the greatest consoles ever. So many people had that. So many great games across the board with PS3. But as far as exclusives, it had those too. It was not a problem to have both of those consoles and just have a wide array of different games to play. But it's dropped. To me, it's almost kind of sad to see Microsoft fall in that spot. They really just kind of came up out of, let's just make a system. And they made the original Xbox, which, was great. I mean, it's hard to compete with the PS2. It really is. You had the GameCube out there with the name of Nintendo. But for them coming up, the brand, their first console, I thought the Xbox, original was amazing. And like I said, just prior, the 360 was amazing. And it's just kind of sad to see it, I like to have a world where there's many exclusives and there's a reason to have all these consoles. But right now, to me, I just don't see a reason to have all of them. It's more, I have my PS4. I love it. And I do plan on getting a Switch, at some point in the near future. Xbox is not on my mind at all. Not in, the very least. Unless my one friend who told me about the racing game, he was talking about getting a Scorpio. And I had thought about maybe offering to buy, his. But honestly, he might get more trade-in value, towards a Scorpio compared to what I would actually pay. Because I'm not going to pay that much. I'm just not, happy with what I got. There's so many games on the horizon for PS4 and just ones that I own that I haven't even touched yet. And not to mention, Switch in the future, coming up. And, of course, I still have my 3DS and my Vita. It's tough to keep up already. And Xbox has not given me enough reason, to buy and spend this whatever, whether it's, 200 or a Scorpio is 500, whatever the amount is. Right now, I don't see anything worth me spending that money.
No, I agree. Because, I know some people, they don't like the concept of console exclusives. Whenever there's a game coming out and they say, oh, it's going to be on PS4 only, or something like, when Tomb Raider had that time exclusive and everyone was upset that, Rise of Tomb Raider was on Xbox One and it wasn't on Sony. I think it's a good thing to have exclusives in the sense that it makes you want to say, hey, that product there makes me want to buy that as opposed to that product over there. If all the consoles were the same, then we wouldn't have any sort of competition. And right now, in competition, there's always a winner and a loser, and it's all subjective, but I think you can agree, James, that when it comes to the PS4 and Xbox One, I like the PS4 better right now,
Yeah, Microsoft, you are TNA right now. You are TNA Impact Wrestling. You are crap. And I wish you the best. And I hope you succeed, and I hope you can put up a good fight. But right now, it's not promising, I've sworn my allegiance to Sony with Yakuza. I've made that clear the whole way along. That was my thought of when I was going to get a 360, which mine had died. I was like, am I going to get another one or a PS3? PS3 has Yakuza. It's nice to be able to. I love the idea of exclusives. Growing up through that, maybe that's something with some of us who are a little bit older, grew up during the console wars. It was always cool to have those huge differences. There was so much of a difference between the Genesis and the Super NES, and now the lines are blurred so much more. And like I said, Rare Replay, I really praise that. I wish I could play that because I love compilation discs. Like anything, they're just like one of the most awesome things ever. And I would love to play that, but that's not quite enough, for me to go and get a whole other console and have a whole other system of games to worry about having to buy, But I want to see them rise up. I hope they do better. Maybe the Scorpio will be some kind of miraculous thing that changes the landscape. I really doubt it, but like I said, I wish them the best. They've always put up a good fight, and I've said on previous shows too, they're the one I could see just dropping out of the business. They got into it seemed like just because they could, and they put up a good fight, and they left their name, and people will always remember Xbox. Like I said, 360, one of the greatest systems ever. They left their mark, and they could easily just go away. So I don't know. We're just gonna have to see how it goes on. It'll be interesting to see. They're still putting the effort to put the Scorpio out, so maybe they have some kind of big master plan that we just don't really see right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. All aside, I know some people may be listening. They're like, "Oh, they just hate Xbox." No, I hope that when E3 comes out and we do our, next episode after the E3. Whenever that episode comes out, I hope that I'm like, dude, I really want an Xbox One. Xbox is back because, 7th gen, 360 was my console. 6th gen, I had an equal love for PS2 and GameCube, but the OG Xbox made me think of what the Dreamcast 2 would have been. Because we had, Panzer Dragoon Orta, we had, a Crazy Taxi, we had, Jet Set Radio Future or Jet Grind Radio Future, Shenmue 2. We had all these exclusives on the Xbox that I was like, man, this is stuff that I loved on the Dreamcast, and now we have a sequel, and it's on the Xbox. Xbox completely revolutionized the way we play online games. You can't take that away from them. Online gaming would not be where it's at if it wasn't for Xbox Live. So when it all comes down to it, I hope this goes in full circle, and the Xbox One Scorpio comes out, has a good price point. They have some nice exclusives. The only exclusive that I can think of the Xbox One has that, remotely tickles my fancy would be Cuphead. And Cuphead is in, production limbo, and I know by the time that game comes out, it's going to be a matter of time before it's also released on the Switch and PS4. So right now, Xbox One, there's no reason to own one for me, personally. So, yeah.
And I would love, like I said, back in the day, GameCube, Xbox, PS2, I would love that to happen again, right now. Where there's a reason, even if you don't, I've never been one to own, every console. I like to have at least two, but it's always nice if you have a friend, who has that other one, so you can still play some of the other games. Like you said, Cuphead, I'd like to see that, that's not going to save them. That would be one that would be interesting to see it pop out on, other systems. And just, right now, the Switch is looking, more and more interesting. I've heard about, once again, another compilation disc, the Namco collection. While it didn't blow me away, I'll be honest, I'm looking at it, I'm like 10 games or whatever it is. I'm like, really? That's kind of weak, man. Old Namco museums have way more. But, like I said, I love compilation disc. It does have the arcade version of Rolling Thunder 2, which has not been available before, so I'm still excited about it. It's got Splatterhouse on there. Lots of my favorite old school titles, so draw me in. Maybe Microsoft will pull out some other kind of, they got their Rare Replay. Maybe they'll have some other kind of, I don't know. I just want compilation disc, I guess. I'd be happy. I just want to play old crap. I guess that's my problem,
Well, I will go into this before we go into our break, because this is something that's worth discussing. I do have a Switch. Since our last episode, the last time we recorded, I can't remember if I had just beaten it or if I was still playing it, but I was playing Zelda Breath of the Wild on the Wii U. And a friend of mine, Amanda, she sent me a Nintendo Switch. Like, I was going through a bunch of stuff, and she was like, yeah, I want to send you something. I hope it cheers you up. And just promise me, and I'll get back into this a little bit more. She was like, just promise me, you won't sell it. And she sent it to me. I had no idea what it was, and I opened it up, and it was a Nintendo Switch. And I'm like, holy shit. And, I have to say, these last 2 weeks playing the Switch, I do really like it. I love the concept of it. The concept of the Switch really shined when I started playing Mario Kart Deluxe. And the reason why is because, this is a game that I played on my TV. I was playing a couple of rounds online with Amanda, and I was like, well, man, I want to go outside and take a smoke break. Instead of being like, hey, hold on for 1 second, I'm going to go take a smoke break and get a drink and come back. I just pulled it out of the dock, put in the Joy-Cons into the Switch. It became a handheld. Went outside, smoked a cigarette, kept playing. Came back in, put it back on the dock. I was good to go. Another example is when I was talking to my friend Mikey, who's never played Mario Kart 8 because he's never owned a Wii U, and he doesn't have a Switch. I was like, hey, man, next time we hang out, I'm going to bring my Switch with me and we can play some Mario Kart. And because, him and I could go to a restaurant, I could bring my Switch in handheld mode, pull the Joy-Cons out, give him one, I'll have one, put the tablet on the kickstand, and boom, we're playing Mario Kart and Chili's.
See, screw paying for trivia games at the table. You don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah.
With the Switch.
I mean that's an awesome concept. And even Street Fighter 2, I did some trades, and I got Street Fighter 2 pre-ordered. It comes out on the 26th, and I was like, do I really want Street Fighter 2? I've played it all the time. It's one of my favorite arcade games. But I was like, I've played it all the time, and this is just another port. But then I was thinking, I was like, holy crap. I'll have Street Fighter 2, and I can go to a coffee shop. I can go to a bookstore and order some coffee, read, some retro magazine, and play Street Fighter 2 online with somebody. And, if someone's... And it's a great conversation opener because, say, for all you single people out there, say you're sitting there playing the Switch and some chick walks up to you, and chick or guy, I should say, walks up to you and they're like, oh, that's the Nintendo Switch. That's awesome. And you're like, yeah, I'm just playing some Mario Kart. Hey, let's play. So you pull the controller out and you get to know the person and play. Nintendo really has a knack, hate them or not, Nintendo really does have a knack of reinventing the wheel when it comes to some gaming. And to me, the Switch does that. That's what I really like about it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people played it off as like a gimmick of the people, multiple people sitting around playing basketball, they stop. They go to play the game. This is what I'd like to see. It'd be really refreshing to see people sitting across from each other playing a game like this instead of someone with their face stuffed just singularly down in their phone. Yeah. I mean, we all do it. I'm not knocking that. I sit there with my face in my phone too. But just think when you walk around instead of seeing that, you see a couple people. You're playing a game. You're usually having fun, I would assume. And it'd just be nice to see people looking there. It's like, they're playing a game, having a good time. You're not looking at some depressing news or just people arguing or whining about crap online. It's just so much of what it is. It's just so refreshing to me, to walk in and see. And I've heard about people, actually using the multiplayer function, out in public, going out, and I look forward to seeing that. I hope to see a lot of people doing that. I hope, I'm doing that one day too. Like I said, it's a great conversation starter. It could actually... just causing conversation. So that's a thing that's lacking nowadays with so many people involved in their own worlds on their phone. Sometimes we miss that interaction with other people. And maybe more people will be brought together and friendships formed through gaming, kind of like it used to be sometimes at arcades and such.
Yeah.
It's a really cool concept, a gimmick thing that people, thought, was just kind of like, but to actually see people doing that, I know it's happening out there, and the more and more people that get the Switch, the more and more we're going to see that, and that's just that's a really cool thing to see.
Yeah, a great example of it, as I know we've talked about it. I've talked to some of my friends about it. One of the things that we miss about gaming is couch co-op. Having those game nights of having people come over to your house and all of you play Mortal Kombat or Smash Brothers or Smash TV or something. Now this is something that is bringing the love of couch co-op, that human interaction playing a game, or that human interaction of, like you said, the arcade. It's bringing that, but in a more modern twist, in the sense that, I feel like gaming now has become kind of like this impersonal way with online. I mean, I love online gaming. I like the fact that, I can play a game with you, James, and you're like 2 hours away from me. That's awesome. But at the same time, it doesn't compare to actually sitting down and playing with somebody. And Nintendo is kind of focusing on both of that. You got the online aspect where, you and I could play Mario Kart online. I could be somewhere, you could be somewhere. We don't have to meet up at the house to play. But at the same time, if you were here and I was in the same spot, we could still play. I mean, it's a weird yin and yang type of thing that Nintendo's doing. And the only thing I will say before closing and going to our break, the only thing I don't like about the Switch is we've heard about some of the defects, like the dock. It makes the tablet or the console itself actually get kind of hot. It does. There's a couple times I've played Mario Kart 8 and I just, went to go pick it up out of the dock to put the Joy-Cons in there, and I was like, man, this is really fucking warm. This is really getting kind of hot. And I would actually play it sometimes in handheld mode just because I was scared of it getting too hot, because I've had people talk about it warping and stuff like that. So hopefully, hopefully that doesn't happen to me. I really hope it doesn't, and I hope if it is an ongoing issue, I know Nintendo's working on it, and hopefully, they come out with a better dock. If they come out with a better docking station that has some sort of cooling fan or something like that, because this dock, it's really cheap. I mean, that's something they've really, pinched and scraped pennies for to make, because it's just a plastic dock. It doesn't have any sort of ventilation or anything like that. So hopefully they fix that. I did put a screen protector on it too, because I was too scared that I would be putting the Switch in the dock and it would scratch the screen. I've heard of that happening and I've seen videos of it. But other than that, I mean, all systems when they first come out have their hiccups. That's just the thing about being an early adopter. I wasn't planning on adopting it so soon. It was it kind of literally just fell in my lap. I was going to wait about a year. And for those people that are, thinking about getting a Switch, I mean, if you want to wait a year, there's nothing wrong with that. Just wait for the stuff to come out. But overall, it's a really good console. I really enjoy it.
It's awesome. It's just good to see people out there, checking out. It's really cool, that you ended up getting one. Like I said, it was just kind of like magic. Just kind of popped up.
Yeah, exactly. But what we're going to do, guys, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about kind of like a more personal topic. We're going to be talking about, my views on collecting. I've actually changed my path on collecting. Some of the things that I'm doing now, it's different. And I actually have some tips and tricks for people that want to game on a budget. I'll get into that as well. And we'll also talk about the new Nintendo 2DS. That's going to be releasing in July. We'll talk about our thoughts about that and whatever else comes in our head. But anyway, guys, sit back, relax, and we'll be right back. And we are back, guys, and that's right, the Nintendo, because there's no other Nintendo out there.
The Nintendo.
The Nintendo, the one and only, is coming out with a new revision handheld of their new 3DS model called the new 2DS XL. And what this is the larger 3DS, but without the 3D, and it's going to be having the all the capabilities of the new 3DS, which has a faster processor, has that little C nub. I don't even call it a C stick, so it looks like an eraser. Has that little C thingy, and it's going to have all the things that the new 3DS model has to offer, except for the 3D. And unlike the original 2DS, it's actually going to be a clamshell. It's not going to be one large unit, kind of like the Game Boy was. The original 2DS was more of a like economy based, like a handheld that didn't have the 3D. It was more aimed towards children. It was more durable and whatnot. What are your thoughts about this, James?
This is pretty cool. 3DS is something that it's on the horizon. It's honestly not anything that I've been rushing out to get, and I love we in the past have always gushed about the 3DS. It's really awesome. I love the original DS. I still love playing, that's my preferred method of playing GBA games, is my old brick DS. I love it. 3DS is, amazing. And this kind of shows, too, that Nintendo's not trying to phase it out yet by putting this out. I think they're trying to get more people on the train with the, new version, because there are a few games out, and I'm sure they'd like to get it to where there's more and more that can only play on that newer version. And this one, like I said, you take away the 3D. I'm one of those ones, as before, I got the detached retina crap going on. I can't see 3D, so I never have it on. A lot of people just prefer to play it with it off. From what I've heard and personal experience from myself, like I said, I don't use it. So, this would be one that I would look more forward to because, without that 3D function, it's going to be a bit cheaper. I don't know what the price point is on this.
It's $50 cheaper, so it's going to be $150. It's going to be $150 instead of $200.
I'd count on at least like $50 off. Yeah, that's a lot more tempting. It's still at the point, too, I'd like to see it keep going. It's been around for a bit. I don't know how many more newer games are going to come out, and with what they will come out, they're really going to have to kind of, entice me still, though, to invest in this product. It's one I would say, if you don't have a 3DS, by all means, get this. And I even heard, for a while, they were having sales on Amazon before this version of just the regular new 3DS that was going for the same price or even less, around $100. I don't know if that was like a special Christmas sale. By all means, get some form of the 3DS if you don't have one by now, because it is awesome. Like I said, along with the capabilities of playing all the old DS games, is a very vast library of newer, really good ones you can play. And this is a good method because, like I said, for me, I don't know. Did you ever use the 3D much when you played?
When I first got the 3DS, I played it a little bit with the 3D just to see what the bells and whistles were all about. 'Cause, it was intriguing. I'm like, man, I can play 3D without glasses. That's awesome. And I did it, and now, when I play games, I don't use the 3D. And that brings up a good thing where, if I had the original 3DS XL since we started the podcast. I had just gotten the 3DS in our early episodes, and that was almost like 5 years ago. And I'm like, I kind of feel like I want to upgrade, and I'm probably going to get the new 3DS or 2DS XL. I'm probably going to get that, trade in my old 3DS and get some trading credit, and because it does seem kind of cool. Now, this is the thing that kind of worried people, because the Switch is a month old, and now Nintendo's coming out with this new remodel, and it kind of startled people in the sense that, because the Switch is that handheld console hybrid, that this was somehow showing that Nintendo had no faith in the Switch. And I have to beg to differ. I can understand the concerns, but at the same time, when has Nintendo had a console and a handheld at the same time? A great example, when the DS came out, the DS wasn't supposed to be the spiritual successor to the Game Boy. It just turned out that way, according to Nintendo. But, the first year that DS came out, they came out with the Game Boy Micro. That didn't mean that they were, had no faith into the DS. That just means that they were just broadening their horizons. The way I look at it, the more products that are out there, the more profit that could come out for it, This could be a chance for people to, if you don't want to go out and get a Switch, get the new 2DS. Either way, Nintendo's making money, and that's the way the cookie crumbles in the gaming market. As much as the gamers try to shy away from it, it's all about the money. And the thing is like, what I like about it is, it's going to give people a chance to play the 3DS, most of all, because the 3DS is a great console, It's got some great games.
I see it as them, having faith in the fact that the, 3DS system or 2DS, however you want to call it, is not going anywhere anytime soon. Because some people had wondered, is the Switch a replacement for the 3DS? Are they, trying to combine the console and the handheld into one? I think the fact that they're, putting forth effort and money to make a new version, shows they plan on keeping it going, for a while. And like I said, it has a long run. And, it is a good upgrade if you're looking into that or if you've never played it before. Because, I imagine more and more, probably we'll still get some big titles that, might be, newer 3DS style only. There's not that many, like I said, at the moment. But, I could see it going that way as far as I guess it helps with, like, the frame rate and such. I'm still the last games I haven't really bought many of the cartridges for the 3DS. I still have been downloading on there, and I'm kind of ashamed I haven't played it as much as I should, because it was one of my favorite systems for the longest time, and I just haven't played as much. I know one of the last shows I think I had gotten a newer River City Ransom game that was on there that was really amazing, and I had a blast playing, and that was one of the last ones I played. But it is, and I have a Vita and a 3DS, and the 3DS is the, greatest handheld system, at the moment for right now. So it's totally worth, investing in if you've not gotten one yet. Like I said, a little bit cheaper price, minus the, if you want to call it gimmicky, 3D stuff. It's a good way to go. And I think they're still going to try to keep it around for a while.
The only thing that would concern me, or the only thing that would upset me, is if we had another 3DS Wii U issue, in the sense that while I love the Wii U, Nintendo didn't embrace it as much as they should have, because we had all these Nintendo Directs, and they'd spend 30-35 minutes talking about 3DS, and then they would have 5 minutes of the Wii U. I hope that doesn't happen with the Switch. Right now, it doesn't look like it, because the Switch is gaining some momentum. A lot of people are all there is right now is just Zelda and Mario Kart. Well, we got Street Fighter coming out this month. The next month we have ARMS. We also have Splatoon 2. And, of course, we got E3 right around the corner. Some of the games that are on the eShop right now that you can get, of course, Blaster Master. The new Blaster Master Zero, you can get it on the Switch. You can get it on the 3DS, but you can get it on the Switch as well. It is something that's can concern a new Switch owner that, you just bought this console hoping that Nintendo wouldn't do what they did with the Wii U, and they're like, oh, we just came out with a new remodel of the 3DS. I can understand how that would hinder your impressions and kind of get you worried. But for now, it's all speculation, subjective opinions. Nothing's set in stone yet, guys. Just relax and enjoy some video games,
Yeah, think of it as two different markets. It's still
Exactly.
just a handheld market and a console market.
Exactly. So that's the way that is. Now, another thing I was going to talk about was collecting. Not to dig too much in my personal stuff, but I've had some really interesting things happen to me last month, and one of them was some financial things, and this is something I was already thinking about for a while. And I think it just kind of surprised people because I just went on social media and I was like, I'm selling...
You sold your soul. You're not Xander anymore.
Yeah, because I'm selling my collection. I'm not selling my whole collection, but I'm selling probably about 80% of my collection. Mostly I'm selling things that I can easily emulate because I have a Raspberry Pi, I have a Ouya, and the Raspberry Pi is amazing. I do have to give a quick shout out to my friend Josh, who made me his version of the Pi Zero, and a big shout out to my friend John, who has the Retro Bro out. That's the one that you have, James, and I think you can agree, James, that it's awesome.
Yeah, definitely is very cool. Shout outs to, both of them for giving people a, good affordable means to play a lot of the older systems, for some of us who are not that inclined at technology, and just, really good people at the end of it is how I look at it, good people and friends. And, I've enjoyed having, I had emulators on my Xbox. I have one of those Nintendo carts with them, and then now I have like the Retro Bro. It has a lot of turbo graphics and stuff, and a lot of the people that bought them, I kind of like to take credit myself here for the turbo graphics because I was the one that was pushing them to get that one on there. So
hell yeah.
And I've really had a blast, and that'll, we did the games we've been playing later. I'll touch a bit more on a couple of the ones that I'd always wanted to play and a couple ones that I found on there. But, there's really so many different means to play, and, we can kind of easily get caught up in the collecting. Mm-hmm. It's very easy. I earlier on had kind of a freeing experience myself, when I sold, a good amount of my Genesis and Super Nintendo games to my brother, when I was getting my PS4. That was my decision. I decided to sell some off to pay for my PS4 because I didn't want to, put more stuff on credit cards. And honestly, my wife offered to buy me a PS4 too. So I could have easily just been like, yeah, I'll just let her buy me that. But I decided to, do it myself. A lot of times playing video games, collecting toys, whatever you may do, you kind of get pushed into this kind of child frame. People think you're very childlike for doing such activities like that, but sometimes you can really show your growth and being an adult by taking care of certain things, which I really think you did. Like you said, without delving too much, you looked at the thing, a possibility of not having a job or an income, and you'd already planned on that ahead of time. And these are things many people have to take care of. We had the benefit, me and you don't have children or anything like that we have to worry about. But a lot of times, too, you still have to worry about yourself. And at the end of the day, if you go out there and, take care of yourself, you provide some type of income, like that's, to me, that's really being an adult, It's not, oh, how dare could I could never sell this, That's, so many people I saw, reaching out to you, and I think all their hearts were in the right place. They totally were. But, from the very start, there was about 4 people, and I talked to a lot of the people along the way. I just thought it was cool that they supported you in this fact. They all got what was up, We understood the bigger picture. And, to some people, like I said, it's like the games is like everything. Sometimes it's like there is just life, and there are so many things. There are bills. There are all these things that fall in your way. And sometimes it's nice to have these collections, things like this. You look at the end, all that stuff you did into collecting, it helped out in the fact that you could fall back on that, in a bit of a time of need.
Yeah, and the thing is like one of the things I touched base on when I was talking to people about it is, my collection, because I had a lot of people, and this is the only comment that kind of misscrewed me a little bit, was I had some people that were like, these games are your passion. Like, why are you selling these games? This is what makes you you. And I'm like, no, I'm a gamer. I love video games, and I don't care if I'm playing, Castlevania 3 on my phone, if I'm playing it on the Nintendo, if I'm playing it on the Raspberry Pi. Either way, I love playing Castlevania 3. And one of the reasons why I had the collection that I have is because, I never got rid of anything. I just, kept doing it. And I think some people, not to sound bad, because it almost becomes a separate entity, that the collecting becomes a hobby within itself. You know, you get people that love, and I've talked to a couple of collectors and they agree with me, you fall in love with this adrenaline rush of going out there and finding games, buying games, putting them on the shelf. It just, it's an adrenaline rush, it's an addiction, and I was never at that point. You know, I was never, just buying games just to buy them. I always, had disciplined myself in the sense that I only bought games that I planned on playing and games that I wanted in my collection. I didn't, get a game because of the value and stuff like that. I mean, that's one of the funny things about it now that I'm selling my collection, is I have to constantly look up prices, because I had no idea that I would start selling it. But at the same time, I have to say, man, it feels great. It feels great to actually sell these games, in the sense that I feel like I'm starting over. I can focus on, when it comes to collecting, I can focus on more things that I would rather collect for, that I originally didn't have the room for, because I'm like, man, I got all these Nintendo games. I'd love to get some Sega Saturn, but I just don't have the room for Sega Saturn. Now I do, and I like that. And the cool thing is, and in my way, I was telling some people, I'm like, you're buying these games from me, and, if I could sell a game to somebody, a game they had never played before, that I really enjoy, that I have nostalgia with, like, say, I'm selling them a copy of, like, Rolling Thunder, they never played Rolling Thunder, and they're buying it on the NES. I had memories of Rolling Thunder, playing it at the arcade at Chuck E. Cheese, talking about it with you on the podcast when you first joined, and we had our arcade discussion. We talked about Rolling Thunder. To me, that's kind of cool, because they have a piece of my gaming memories. They have a piece to add to their collection, to make their own nostalgia and memories. Oh man, I bought this from Xander, this guy I know that has a YouTube channel and audio podcast. That's freaking awesome,
No, it definitely is. And I mean, it is a little bit of a freeing experience sometimes. Like I said, just like, you don't get locked into it. And it was just kind of opening. And I mean, it's like, we all still love games. To some people, I don't play video games every single day. And to some people, I imagine that'd be kind of mind-blowing. Go like, you have a podcast, you don't play every day? It's like, no, I mean, I don't. But honestly, I think about it every day, whether it's some type of video game music or I'm listening to maybe somebody else's podcast. Video games still run through my head. It's like, and you can have a passion for something, and you can love something, and, still not to have every single piece. And like I said, you look at some of the stuff you let go, man, somebody could be really happy, getting that, because I know you're doing a lot of fair prices for stuff. You weren't trying to go out there and gouge people. And, if someone can get that and someone else can get the joy from that, it's all kind of spreading around, And I told everybody else too, I said, if you do somehow end up being like really regretful, I will give you a third of my Nintendo games. I did mean that if somehow that happens. So, he's covered, everybody, just so you know.
Well, I mean, and I'll be honest, man. I will be honest. Since selling, one of the reasons why I sold the collection wasn't just because of finances and personal things. It was something I was already kind of grooming myself thinking about when I got the Raspberry Pi, because I was like, you know what, I just want to play video games. I want the convenience, and it's liberating playing on the Pi, because I can play anything I want. I don't have to worry about hooking up a cable. I don't have to worry about having a certain TV. I don't have to worry about, trying to find my controller and in like a bin full of controllers that are all tangled up. I just go and start playing the game. I don't have to blow in the cartridge. I don't have to clean out, or change the 72-pin connector. And I mean, it's just, for my lifestyle, that just someone who just loves playing video games, something like the Raspberry Pi is godsend. Because, you know what? To me, I believe that if you truly love a video game, just like any sort of form of media, it shouldn't really matter what format it's on. I mean, I don't really hear a whole lot of people, if you're in the car with somebody and they're listening to like Iron Maiden's Power Slave, I never hear anybody really say, oh man, Power Slave, that's freaking awesome. I wish you were listening to it on vinyl though, because it sounds far more superior. No. Yeah,
it probably does sound superior on vinyl.
It does. But at the same time, it's like 2 Minutes to Midnight. Is
You're
still
too busy rocking out to Iron Maiden to worry about things like that.
Yeah, I mean, 2 Minutes to Midnight is a good song regardless, or Ace is High, So I mean, like that's the thing that I'm touching on is just, doesn't matter. I'm still playing and I'm still enjoying it. And honestly, I've been playing more retro games in the last couple of days than I have in the last couple of months on the original hardware, just because of sheer convenience.
Yeah, come on, man. It's a pain in the ass. You got to stack. You got to pull out the Nintendo game, and shit falls over. You got to plug it in. I mean, it was fun. I had a blast, and I haven't bought any Nintendo games in a while. A good friend Rob Luther from the Retro Junkies Super Show. He'd sent me a Nintendo a few years ago. That really kick-started my Nintendo buying habit, and I got a lot of awesome stuff. I had a blast. I don't regret any of it. I had a $20 limit. I was like, I'm never going to spend, more than this. And, I have a bunch, and, I'm good. Where McKay, my favorite store to shop at, closed. That had a lot of effect, too, because I went into that store at least once a week. And, sometimes you just see something there. It's a couple bucks. You buy it. They're not there anymore. They were on the way home. I could always go to Second and Charles. They have good stuff sometimes, but it's just complicated. You get off work, man. You just want to go home. You don't want to go to a store. That's what it's like when you get old. You're like, man, it's hot. Like, I'd rather just go home. And that's just how it happens, But anytime I collected, it was always fun. At the end of the day, that's the thing I would suggest to people. As long as you have fun with it, don't let it be, like you said earlier, like an addiction, like something you feel like you have to do. Just enjoy it. Get stuff that you actually play. If you don't collect things, don't feel bad. You can still do a podcast. You can still do a YouTube channel. You can still do anything you want to do if you don't have a big stack of games behind you. It's just all about the memories, the experiences, and the fun you have, with that particular game, whether it's just a memory or it is actually, the cartridge or system that you own. There's so many ways you can go about it. That's the cool thing. The whole point is to have fun, and I think that kind of gets lost along the way sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I agree. Now, before we close the show, we are going to talk about some games we've been playing recently. And I'm going to throw it over to you, James. What have you been playing recently since the last time we talked?
Well, the last time, and I think I had some of these notes written from the last show because I started thinking, I was like, did I talk about these already? I was like, no, I think I had these written down, and then we didn't do. But mentioning with the on my Retro Bro, from our friend John Elagio, awesome dude, I played a couple TurboGrafx games. I played Die Hard. Yeah, I'd always kind of been curious. I'm a huge fan of Die Hard on the Saturn, Dynamite Cop, really awesome as it went on. And actually, too, I will mention recently there was found a version of Die Hard 64.
Wow.
It was a Die Hard game for the Nintendo 64. It's mostly playable. It was out there. It just got canceled. And apparently a lot of it kind of turned into Vendetta, that I believe was the one that was on the GameCube and maybe a couple other systems. But the TurboGrafx one, it's one of those TurboGrafx games that's, usually around like $70. It's kind of high. And I was just like, man, it's probably not that good. I didn't hear the greatest things about it, but I decided to check it out. It was right there, very easy to pull up and play. And as I started playing it, I really had a blast. I was really kind of surprised because my brother EJ, he collects a lot of stuff for the PC Engine, and this was a Japanese game only. We didn't get it over here at all, and it's one that is a little bit higher. And after I played it, he was always kind of leery because of the price, which I thought it was almost maybe kind of worth it. Had a little bit of a Commando feel. Overhead, but for being a movie game, it was actually very fun. Not a big fan of Die Hard on the NES. It's I guess it's okay, but this one was just like I said, very Commando, Akari Warriors kind of feel to it. Just really fun to play. And another one I played was City Hunter, which this is based on a Jackie Chan movie. I believe City Hunter might be the one that has the clips of people dressed up as Street Fighter characters. That happened in one of his movies. But City Hunter, just very fun. Another Japanese release only for the PC Engine. Kind of Kung Fu style. Just kind of side-scroller, beat 'em up, knock 'em around kind of game. That one was very fun. And I was playing a bit of Alien Isolation earlier today. Game is a bit older. I'd always played a little bit here and there. I kind of started with the DLC first, and that was my mistake because it was very hard. But just a very good first-person game. You can see how it really inspired Resident Evil 7 with the just the first-person style, I think. That's how I see it. But just I've been really into aliens lately. We have the new movie Covenant coming out.
Oh, yeah.
I'd already been watching a bunch. Audible, we are not sponsored by Audible. Many podcasts are. But you can go up there and just sign up and get a free book. And, if you've never done it before. And they have some really good alien audio dramas. They're taken from books. One, Out of the Shadows and River of Pain. They're kind of done as sequels to the original Alien movie. They have a really good Sigourney Weaver sound-alike. And, they're about 4 hours. They have sound effects. I'm a huge fan of old-time radio, so those are very much like those. But, just, man, Alien is awesome. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too.
I've just been in a big alien mood,
I really did like Alien Isolation. I played that a couple years back. I know our friend Ryan from the Cast of Creatures, he loves it too. And I think between you and him, you two have been like on a big alien kick with the Covenant coming out, and I'm really excited. I'm really, really excited for it. Now, with me, what I've been playing a lot lately.
Even with selling everything, you've still been playing?
I know. One of the things I did want to mention is a game I bought on the PS4. It's like $9.99. It's called Kiro Blaster. It's a retro style run and gun platformer. You play as a little frog, this little 8-bit frog, and you're walking around, you're shooting things. It was a lot of fun. I mean, it's very bare bones. It's got a good comedy sense of humor to it. And it's not a real long game. I bought it yesterday. I beat it probably an hour and a half before we started recording. I beat it. And it does get challenging. And, I will say if you play this game, definitely upgrade your weapons. Because when you upgrade your weapons, it gets a lot easier. You get 4 new weapons in the game. You get 4 weapons to choose from. And you unlock, you'll unlock them by the levels. There's probably about 7 levels in the whole game. So it's not a real long game either. I had a lot of fun playing that. Played Binding of Isaac Plus Afterbirth on the Nintendo Switch.
What do you think about that game? Do you like that game?
It's all right. It's one of those games that a lot of my friends were big fans of. They love the roguelike and
I hate it.
Yeah, to me it wasn't bad. I couldn't. It was. I don't know. It was one of
you
those
didn't
games.
love it. You didn't love it.
Yeah, I didn't love it. I didn't love it. I thought it was interesting. I liked the art to it. I do like the twin stick aspect. My problem is I just don't know what to do. That's my problem. It's I
think I don't like roguelikes. I don't know if I like that changing experience. It was one, and I could see people. To me, I would be like, it kind of sucks, but I could understand people liking that style of game. It does have a cool aesthetic to it, like you said, with the art and such. It just might not be my type of game, I think is what it is.
I think that's what it is with me, because I don't hate it. I'm not oh, this game's horrible. But at the same time, it's I played it and I'm like, okay, well, now I know why people like Binding of Isaac, I guess. It's one of those things. Now, played that. I played Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on the Switch. Actually, I got Mario Kart 8 Deluxe from trading, and that's kind of a little side thing I want to talk about real quick. Because I've been low on income, a lot of games...
Did you go to GameStop?
I did go to GameStop, because GameStop had a really great deal. I went in there and traded Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U, because I was like, you know what, I'm not going to play this. I traded that and Kirby's Rainbow Curse Canvas, or whatever it's called. That was a horrible game. I really didn't like it. I traded those two in, and I got enough store credit with that, and plus the 30% for going towards Mario Kart. I pretty much got Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for like $15. You know, it was a $60 game I got for 15. So I don't want to sound kind of biased because I did get it at a discount price, but it's a lot of fun. It took everything I liked about Mario Kart 8 and upped the ante, and they made it better. The battle mode has been a lot of fun. One of my favorite modes in battle mode is called Shine Thief, where the match starts. You got two teams. You got the red team and the blue team, and there's a shine, like a little star on the track, and whoever grabs that shine is like capture the flag. You grab the shine, you have to drive as much as you can. Each match is like 20 seconds long, and it's like a madhouse. Like, people are throwing stuff at you. Your team's like guarding you, because if you get hit, you lose the shine. They can grab the shine, and then their time starts. So things can get really heated. They also had the balloon battle from the old school days, and that was a lot of fun. Bomb mode, which was like from Double Dash. They also added, the fact that you can hold two items instead of one, like in Double Dash, in the game itself. And online was really good. It played really well. So I've been playing that. The retro stuff, I've been playing a lot of MAME, a lot of arcade titles. I've been playing, I played some Street Fighter 2 just because the one's coming out for the Switch, so I wanted to kind of get with that. Played some Toki, because I love some Toki.
You do love Toki.
I do, man. I love that game so much. I was playing some of that, and I was playing some PlayStation 1 emulation on the Ouya, because I paired up my PlayStation 3 controller to it, and I was playing some PlayStation 1 games. I was playing Street Fighter Alpha 3. I was playing Iron Hander. Let's see. Yeah, Iron Hander. That's like the shooter, right? That's like the shooter on Squaresoft. I was playing that, and one more.
I get that one mixed up with there was a game. It was kind of like a fighting game that was Urguys. Is that the Squaresoft one? Okay.
Yeah. I was playing that, and I was also
Urguys.
And I was also playing Tomba off the PS1. They do with the
Tomba's awesome, dude. I got that on the Vita. I just played that for the first time last year sometime.
Yeah,
that one's pretty. I see why there was such a fuss about that one. It was another really awesome 2D game, along with the likes of Symphony of the Night. That was just, man, like I missed out on Tomba originally. That would have been a good one. I've been watching a show too. I did want to bring up real quick. I think it's Hulu only because Hulu is behind it, but it's a show called Dimension 404. It's kind of like a current day Twilight Zone. Has many focuses of current things like online dating and energy drinks, and there's even like a video game possessed by Satan or something. It's really cool. It's kind of like a little throwback episode with an arcade and everything. Has lots of different actors and comedians pop up in it. They did a 6-series run, and I've just been trying to tell people to watch it because I hope people like watch it and they do more, because I think it's awesome. So Dimension 404, you should definitely check that out if you have Hulu.
I have to check that out, because that'd probably hold me over until Stranger Things Season 2 comes out on Halloween.
It's so great. Honestly, dude, for the people, I think, like, I watched some Stranger Things, and I wasn't, like, as into it, but just that kind of vibe, even though, like I said, it has the current things, especially the arcade episode, Polybius, which is based on a myth of this like old, I think it was like an Atari, or it might have been an arcade game, that someone died by getting a high score on. It's kind of linked into that a bit.
Yeah.
But it definitely, a couple episodes have a certain older aesthetic to them, kind of like the Stranger Things. So like, I think if someone likes Stranger Things, I think you would dig Dimension 404. And the best thing to me, honestly, all the episodes have happy endings, and sometimes I just like happy endings to crap, because Sometimes life is just miserable enough. So when I watch some entertainment, I want a happy ending. And this one succeeds on it while still being a little creepy. And I can appreciate that. Creepy and happy all at the same time.
Awesome. Well, I think this is going to close up episode 101. Now, guys, we'll be going back to our usual schedule very soon of, every other week's going to be a new episode. We do 2 episodes a month. And if you're a first-time listener and you're listening to us on iTunes, be sure to click that review and give us a nice rating. Write a little something about us, because that helps push our listeners and helps get us a bigger audience. And if you're listening to this on Podomatic, be sure to check us out on iTunes and do everything I just said. And if you're listening to us on Podomatic or on iTunes and you want more content, be sure to check out youtube.com/Xander Skullion. That is my YouTube channel where I do Let's Plays, I do reviews, I do unboxings. I actually have an unboxing video I'm doing. I actually already filmed this. It's going to be coming up very soon. My friend Amanda sent me a bunch of just random stuff. I'll go ahead and say one spoiler. I got a pair of Freddy Krueger chopsticks. That's one thing I'll go ahead and say.
That sounds pretty cool.
Pretty awesome. So be sure to check that out. That's youtube.com/Xander Skullion. And as always, guys, thanks for listening, and we will catch you back very soon. And as always, happy gaming.
Have a pleasant evening, everyone. And watch Dimension 404.
Yes!
Can't get enough of Xsgaming Podcast? Be sure to check out our audio podcast on Podomag.com. You can also subscribe to us on iTunes. And if you have a YouTube channel or podcast you'd like to share, be sure to check us out on Facebook on our group page and join the community. As always, guys, thank you so much for all the support, and happy gaming.